me while I tried the time my friend started dating my crush. This girl and I were friends for years. I literally trusted her with my entire life. I feel like us girls, whenever we have that girl that, is like our sister, we can just run to whenever we need someone to be there. We're gonna tell them everything. So I ended up telling her that I like this guy, that I had a crush on him, and she listened to me. She's like, okay, cool, like, who is he? And I basically told her who he was, how I met him, and things like that. And you guys probably gonna wonder how I met this guy. So long story short, I met this guy through my older brother. So this guy and I had each other's number and we would text almost every single day. Like, dude, I had a crush on this guy, and I feel like when girls have a crush on a guy, it's more emotional than anything else, especially me, because I feel like it was always very hard for me to have a crush on someone. I am extremely picky, so the fact that I had a crush on this man was a very big deal to me. So as I mentioned earlier, this friend knew that I was interested in this guy, and one day I ended up throwing a kickback, and obviously she is one of my really close friends, so I invited her. And obviously if you have a crush on someone, you're gonna want them to be there, so I invited him to my kickback as well. The kickback happened years ago, so I don't remember exactly what happened, but I do remember that we were all drinking, we were all having a good time. If you guys don't know, I grew up with guys my entire life, and for the most part, she grew up with guys her entire life, so it was just easier for both her and I to get along with guys. It honestly wasn't a surprise to me, and at the end of the day, she is one of my really close girlfriends, and the last thing I'm gonna expect for her to do is to be flirty or talk to a guy that I like. So the night of the kickback is over, and I remember a couple of days later, it was either the day after or a couple days later, I went on Twitter, and I remember she tweeted something along the lines of iMessage games ? And I don't know why, to me, I just had that gut feeling that she was adding my crush without actually adding him. I feel like that was her way of like shooting her shot. Whenever she posted that tweet, he swiped up on her, and that is how they started communicating. But I don't know why, I feel like that was a form of disrespect, especially knowing that I had a crush on him. Like, damn, what happened to girl code? Especially me being one of your girls, like one of your really close friends. I feel like that hurt me the most. I remember my friend's birthday was coming up, and I had the idea to decorate her dorm because at that time she was in college and she was staying at a dorm. I had messaged her roommate because I knew who her roommate was because we've hung out a couple of times, and so her roommate knew the plan and she, was on board with it. One thing I forgot to mention that I feel like is very crucial was the fact that I don't recall if she was the one with the idea of going to get some yogurt, but basically she was like, how about you guys go out and I also go with you guys, that way I can play Cupid. So I honestly thought that was a great idea, and to be honest, you guys, like I told you guys, I did not know anything about love. I didn't know anything about relationships. Like, it actually took a lot for me to step out of my comfort zone and actually give into a guy, especially like my crush. Like, dude, what? And so the fact that she said that she would play Cupid at that time, I thought it was an amazing idea. And now looking back at it as I'm older, girl, that was a big red flag. Like, why does my friend need to be there and try to play Cupid? I feel like if a guy really wanted you, then there's absolutely no way that there should be someone else trying to put you guys together. But back then, I was very clueless. I had no idea about love. I didn't have great role models when it came to love growing up, so I kind of was just going with the flow, and because I trusted her with everything for the most part, like I believed everything she was saying. So like I told you guys, I was messaging her roommate because I wanted to decorate her dorm, and I just wanted a good time where she wouldn't be there. Her roommate ended up messaging me after she told me, yes, that is a great idea. She messaged me and she told me, hey, do you still plan to come and decorate her room? And I was like, yes, that's my idea. She's like, do you know what time you want to come? And I was like, I still don't know the time, but it's definitely one of the plans that I want to do for her. And then she was like, well, what if I just decorate her room for her? And I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, how about you don't come and then I'll just decorate the room? And I was like, okay. Honestly, that was very weird to me. I was confused. I had a lot of questions. So I didn't end up going, and I already had a really bad gut feeling. And so tell me why. The next day I woke up and I went on Snapchat, because this was during the times where everyone would use Snapchat. So I went on Snapchat, and this girl, my friend, ended up posting, her roommate decorating her room, like, oh my god, like, look what I woke up to, like, things like that. And tell me why I seen a guy, and dude, like, if I have a crush on someone, like if a girl has a crush on someone, I feel like we know what this person looks like from the front and back. And tell me why this guy, my crush, was literally at her dorm on her birthday. Like, I was like, what in the actual heck? I was so hurt, but I just kept my calm. I was like, Ash, don't assume. I'm like, bruh, like, how am I not supposed to assume the worst? Like, this is my crush. This is my whole ass, like, friend. Like, dude, her and I were like this. Like, she was my girl. When I seen this Snapchat video, I honestly did not know what to do because the person that I ran to all the time was this friend. And how the heck am I supposed to run to this friend and vent to her and tell her what's going on when she's literally a part of the situation? I also didn't do anything about it. I feel like every other girl that I know would have gone crazy. But if you guys know me, you know I am not a drama person. So I tried to keep it very, like, non-problematic. So even after finding all of this stuff out, again, I still hadn't confronted her. It was more of, at this point, I'd much rather hear it from her. So I was waiting to see how long it would take for her to actually tell me. A couple days later, I went over to her house. And you guys, at this point, I knew everything. And she still hadn't admitted anything to me. And I remember that day I went to her house to give her birthday gifts. Like, yes, you guys, I still went over to give her birthday gifts. Like, till this day, people yell at me because of how nice I am. Like, somebody else, I feel like who was in my shoes, still would not go and give their really close friend a birthday gift. And I still took it upon myself to give her that birthday gift because of how much I loved her. When I got to her house, I said hi to everyone, and then she opened her gift, and then I remember she immediately was like, I need to tell you something. And I kid you guys not, I still remember to this day, I responded to her and I was like, I already know. And she was like, what? And I was like, I already know. And then she was like, it's not what it looks like. And I was like, girl, like, you can sit here and try to justify everything that's going on, but I'm not dumb. I brought up the whole Twitter thing. I brought up the whole Snapchat video thing. And I remember she was like, I didn't know that he was gonna come. So even the fact that the roommate knew that this man was gonna come, why all of a sudden did you tell me not to go over to the apartment? Because you knew that this man was coming. So even after everything she did, I forgave her, you guys. And the amount of talking that I got from my other friends was never ending. And now as I'm older, I totally understand why my friends were upset that I forgave this girl. And it was honestly just really hard because she was my ride or die, and I just didn't want to let that go. And I feel like I was also like in disbelief. I remember I told this girl, I was like, honestly, if he makes you happy, then I'm happy. I remember that's how I responded to her, and I feel like she was just shocked that I said that. But again, you guys, I'm not problematic. If someone else is meant to be with someone else, then so be it. But it's just the fact that she was my whole best friend. She wanted to play Cupid to get us together, and then she ended up dating this man. Obviously, her and I are no longer friends. I don't hate her. It is what it is. I'm glad that him and I didn't work out because I do believe that there is someone greater out there for me. But yeah, anyways, you guys, that is the time that my friend ended up dating my crush.
My parents would always go the full 9 yards for me when it came to Christmas, and to me, being an only child played a part in that. But every year I always got a poem from Santa Claus. Rudolph would always eat the carrots I left him, and Santa would eat the cookies and milk. There would always be a glitter trail going from the fireplace to the Christmas tree. And every Christmas Eve, my grandpa had this Santa tracker thing on his computer. He would show me where Santa was in the world, and one year I asked him how it worked, and he said that they track the metal on his sleigh. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I kid you not, there was one year I literally pulled out one of my teeth and left carrots for the Easter Bunny so that the Easter Bunny, Santa, and the Tooth Fairy could all meet up, have a tea party. I left all my stuffed animals out in the dining room and set up tea for them so they could all hang out on Christmas Eve night. And my parents made that happen for me. The next morning I woke up to Easter eggs everywhere, money under my pillow from the Tooth Fairy, presents from Santa. Like, that had to be the most magical Christmas morning of my whole entire life. So I was a very big believer. But then some of my friends started telling me that Santa is not real. But I was not a normal child, so I started getting in fights with other kids over this. And I'm telling these kids that their parents are lying to them, that Santa is real, they're just non-believers. So naturally, my parents were like, this is getting out of hand, we need to tell her. So they sat me down on the couch one day, and they told me that Santa will always be real in my heart. And I was like, what are you guys saying? Because I know you're not trying to tell me Santa's not real right now. They're like, listen, queen, we were the ones that gave you all of your Santa presents. And I straight up didn't believe them. I was like, I don't know what's gotten into you guys, but you're acting like non-believers, so I'm not having this conversation right now. And I walked away. That is how bad I wanted Santa to be real. Eventually, I accepted defeat, still low-key believe, but I'm actually very grateful that my parents did that for me throughout the years. I did not resent them for it because it made my childhood so very magical, and I will be doing the same for my kids one day.